22nd Conference of Parties of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. What is the aftermath of Marrakesh Action Proclamation? What happened in earlier COPs? Did India meet its aspirations at Marrakech? What is the way ahead? GS Paper 3, Conservation, Environmental Degradation, Environmental Impact Assessment. What is the context about? The UN Conference on Climate Change held in Marrakech, Morocco from 7–18 of November 2016. It laid an emphasis on raising the commitment of all countries to reduce greenhouse gas (GHG) emissions. It is particularly significant as it provided an opportunity to communicate concerns about the future climate policy of the US. The Marrakech Action Proclamation issued at the close of the conference emphasizes the world needs all countries to work together to close the gap between their intended reduction of carbon emissions and what needs to be done to keep the rise of the global average temperature well below 2 degrees Celsius in this century. What is the aftermath of Marrakech Action Proclamation? The negotiators agreed to finalize the rules for implementation of Paris Climate Deal, latest by 2018. The roadmap has been emphasized on the technology transfer for the developing and underdeveloped countries to meet their growing demand with efficiency to reduce carbon emission. Along with combating climate change, efforts will be made to fight poverty and global hunger. The developing countries had demanded that the existing Adaptation Fund, which provides funds to developing countries from the rich nations, continue to live under the Paris Agreement unconditionally. Clause has been added under which developing countries can increase the demand for funding beyond $100 billion per year, after 2020. What happened in earlier COPs? In 1997, the Kyoto Protocol was concluded and established legally binding obligations for developed countries to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions in the period 2008 to 2012. The 2010 Cancun agreements state that future global warming should be limited to below 2.0 degrees Celsius, 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit, relative to the pre-industrial level. In 2015 the Paris Agreement was adopted, governing emission reductions from 2020 on through commitments of countries in ambitious nationally determined contributions. Did India meet its aspirations at Marrakech? Climate justice did not find a mention, nor did India's demand that developed countries adjust their lifestyles to reduce their emissions considerably. Even the reference to the long-standing principles of equity and common but differentiated responsibilities could find a very nominal space in the political statement called the Marrakech Action Proclamation. India's actual negotiating team at the Moroccan capital remains strained for human power and greater political leadership. India was often found missing from crucial closed-door and parallel talks on climate finance. What is the way ahead? The issues that were the most difficult to resolve at Paris have been all put on the plate for 2017 and 2018 to resolve. The next 2 years would be politically as low-key as Marrakech, which may make political leaderships of developing countries take it easy. India's flip-flop on ratification and then the weak political preparation this year showed what the consequence can be. A repeat over next 2 years could land India in a regime where the provisions of the Paris Agreement may say the right things but its implementation would mean lead to just the reverse. The rules could unwrite the law.